Sigma Epsilon Epsilon Lambda, brothers and sisters, wherever you are in the Philippines or any other part of the world. I hope you guys are doing okay. There's another edition of episode number 2, 2014. Hindi po natin natapos yan last time, so pinutol po natin. This will be the second episode. We stopped with the DonDonGomez issue. So now we're going to go on from between August to December 2014. So just a short recap to what happened earlier. We've already discussed 2013. Isang episode po, meron po tayo dyan. We have 2014, dalawang episodes po. Episode 1 earlier and episode 2, this is the continuation of that recording. If you look at the screen, you will see the history of Suul Division timetable. 2013, May 9, nag-declare po si Pete Amumunpon, the announcement of the SM candidacy. May 24th, 12 National Convention po na happened in Catbalogan City. June 01, nanalo po si SM Pete Amumunpon during the election, 12th National Convention election. So he became the Supreme Minister of 2013, between 2013 to 2016. June 1, he announces the Himamat 2014 will be in Jensen. He also announces consultative meeting in 2015, and also he announces the 13th Constitutional Convention will happen in Davao City, which will be in 2016. June 1 as well, you have to note this because this will be our topic today. SM Pete versus Eric Sion, he submitted a complaint form related to malversation of organizational funds. Ang nag-submit po ng complaint is no other than the SM himself. If you're going to look at that window or left screenshot that you can see on the screen, you will see there it's a complaint form dated June 1, 2013. Ang complainant po ay si Pete Amumunpon. The description of the complaint, see attachment. And sabi niya, it's article blah blah blah, it's against the violator, sino? Eric Sion. Chapter belong, Alpha Chi. And he is also the one who approved that complaint as the National Council Supreme Minister. So he's the one who complained it. He also is the one who approved and received that complaint. So, okay, so that's June 1 or 7, 2013. Tingnan po natin. So if you, back to the screen, if you can see June 25, 2013, SM Pete delegated the responsibility to Deputy Supreme Minister for Mindanao to act regarding reported there was an issue of SUULLoveAffair. So it was again delegated this responsibility na aksyonan nyo DSM Mindanao kasi yung concern is about that there. Also, November 3, it happened, September 12, 2013, nag-announce po si SM Pete ng lahat ng transaction. He said that all transaction involving Eric Sion, former SM Eric Sion, that I am not aware of, it will not be honored. Sabi niya, lahat po ng transaction that I'm not aware of regarding former Eric Sion, it will not be honored. That's 2013, November 4. So first thing na nangyari in 2013 was between SM Pete and Eric Sion. He submitted a complaint regarding fund malversation. 2014, he announces of the first National Annual Convention in Himamat. It was announced 2013. And 2014 again, they announced it. April 23, nangyari na po ngayon. May or April, nangyari po yung convention sa General Santos City. A download of a recap about what was been discussed there is there at April 20. Makikita niyo po. And you have to note that July 9, 2014, nakita po natin another conflict between SM Pete and DonDonGomez regarding the Suul ID episode. So we don't know what really happened behind that. We don't have any idea about the details, but what was revealed to us at the post was that there was a commotion. There was an issue going on, but it's between the North American people, the United USA folks. They are the ones who's doing it. So they actually, agreed to do it. So the timeline of SM Pete Eric is that, makita niyo po sa screen, August 10, merong NC meeting unanimously agreed to give SM to exercise its executive power to proceed with the sanction and process. So that was August 10. August 27, SMP to Eric Sayon. There was a notice of letter with order to submit a formal answer to the aforementioned charges. So, August 10, nag-meeting ng NC, binigyan nila for the first time that happened in the history of Sigma Upsilon Upsilon Lambda na during the National Council meeting, binigyan nila si SMP ng executive power to exercise and to proceed with the sanction process about the case of SM Eric Sayon. So that was August 10. Then August 27, sabi ni SMP to Eric Sayon, nagpadala siya ng notice letter with order to submit a formal answer. So this is the complaint against you. This is a notice to order. I submit a complaint. And then August 28, si Eric Sayon responds to SMP letter. Then September 1, SMP acknowledged the response of Eric Sayon. Tingnan po natin. So this is what I'm talking about. Oh, 1 second. What happened to my loom? Okay, there you go. So, number 6, sabi yan. Former SM 2010-2013. Nakita niyo yung complaint letter form nasa left. Ito po. So, what happened here is that nag-complain si Pete nung June 1. Kakapanalo lang po niya as Supreme Minister. First thing na inaksyonan niya is the complaint about SM Eric Sayon. So, ang nangyari, walang ginawa ang National Council, ang Royal Court National Council. Bago po nalaman natin yan, it was documented as well here. If you can look at this portion, itong portion na to, nakakita mo yung response ni Pete Amumunpon. Sabi niya, Brad, astig, a formal complaint has been submitted to the Royal Court of the National Council in 2013, but the case has not been acted upon. So that was the first thing. There was a formal complaint. This came from Pete Amumunpon, but the case was not acted upon. This happens in June 1, 2013. But the case has not been acted upon. Due to the seriousness of the case, it was decided during the recent NC meeting. He was talking about the August 10 na nag-convene ang NC meeting, of which the officers present unanimously agreed to authorize me as the SM to exercise my executive power to go ahead and proceed with the investigation. So, let me stop you there. See, we have a national council, we have a structured in a royal court who acts as a judiciary in the halintulad na lang po sa government. They are the ones who take care of complaints, they are the ones who investigate, they are the ones who come up with a recommendation. That's as per our CBL. So, ang nangyari dito, SM Pete himself submitted a complaint. He received also the complaint as himself. The National Council Royal Court didn't do investigation, perhaps. I don't know for what reason. Because he mentioned that it was not acted upon. So, walang nangyari. Ang nangyari ngayon, since June 2013, walang nangyari. By August 10, meeting sila sa National Council in 2014, and I'm not sure what went wrong, wala pa tayong minutes doon, but what he mentioned is that the National Council meeting which were present unanimously agreed to authorize me as the SM to exercise my executive power to go ahead and proceed with the investigation, charges, and sanction. First of all, what is there to authorize as a executive power? Andyan naman yung royal court natin. He could have give the direction to the royal court what to do, but the fact that you are an elected person in the royal court, you should know how to handle cases like this. There are a lot of angles that we can think of. During this time, yung mga royal court, it could be na malapit sila kay Eric Sayon, former Eric Sayon before. They cannot go on with the investigation simply because there's a lot of reasons. I don't know. But what happened is that sinasabi ni Pete na, okay, bigyan niyo akong executive power, akong bahala dito, ako mag-decide akong lahat. So, it's like, sa government natin ngayon, yung judiciary power, yung Supreme Court, parang sinasabi ni Presidente ng Supreme Court, nagsubmit ako ng complaint ngayon, wala kayong nagawa, or wala kayong ginawa, or wala kayong investigasyon, ibigay niyo sa akin yung Supreme executive power. Ako na yung mag-investigate. I will be the judge, I will be the complainant, I will be the judge, I will be the jury, and I will be the executioner as well. So this is what happened precisely in the case of Eric Sion. So, kung babasahin nyo dyan, SM to exercise my executive power to go ahead and proceed with investigation, charges, and sanction process based on my investigation. So siya na din yung investigate. All in one na. All in one Supreme Minister po tayo. Siya na yung judge, siya na po yung jury, siya na po din yung execute, siya na yung investigate, siya na lahat. So what happened to the organization of SUUL when we have royal court, we have kulang na lang, siya din yung mag-function. So this is what precisely what happened on the case of Eric Sion. So based on my investigation, sabi niya, the charges against Brad Eric is justifiable. So siya na din nag-investigate. There was a question earlier, kung makita niyo sa comment, paano may inimbestigahan? Andyan ka sa Amerika, wala ka sa Pilipinas. So, in fact, in his response, he already admitted such irresponsible action. So what happened is that, babalikan ko po, August 10, makita niyo po highlight dito, August 10, in NC meeting, unanimously agreed. August 27, nagpadala si SMP to Eric Sion letter with order to submit formal answer to aforementioned charges sa malversation of organizational fund. August 28, following day, nag-respond si Eric Sion to SM Peter. Si Eric Sion to Supreme Minister, sorry, not Peter, but Pete letter. So, September 1, in-acknowledge naman ni SMP, acknowledge the response of Eric Sion. And this is what precisely happened. So makikita niyo po sa screenshot na nilagay ko dyan, malversation of organizational fund, that's the following allegation. An act which is detrimental to the interest of welfare of the organization. Talagang mahilig sila dito sa act of detrimental to interest and welfare of organization. So, abuse of power, that's also one thing na SMP, appointed. What else? So, makikita mo dito in this screenshot, makikita mo that, however, in consonance with your rights to defend yourself and to due process, sabi niya, instead of immediately resolving the charges against you by the power vested in me, I hereby direct you, Brother Eric Sion, to submit your formal answer to the aforestated charges within 10 days. Sabi niya, failure to comply sa response mo dito is tantamount, which is equivalent to the waiver of your rights to a formal investigation, and the charges will be submitted to submitted for resolution or decision. So ordered August 27, 2000. So nagkakahalaga po, sabi niya, specification for the period of 2010 to 2013. Ito po yung period na nakaupo si SM Sion, former SM Sion, cash receipts in the amount of 40,000 were received and not deposited to SUUL. So, it was there, it was not deposited to SUUL. So, yun po. Nag-response din naman po si Eric Sion, August 30, 28 yung letter, 29 or 28 to 30. Sabi niya, these are all my accomplishments. Tingnan mo, makikita niyo po. You can pause the video, look at the accomplishment of Eric Sion. Sabi niya, now, all activities I attended were at my own expenses. So, lahat ng mga meeting na yon. Pete Amumunpon, Supreme Minister, this is to reply to your notice with order which I received through email, dated August 27, charging me with the violation, Article 10, 11, 12, malversation, abuse of power, blah, blah. So, sabi niya, with regards to 10,000, which were deposits through NC Bank account not handled to me during the which is intended to the creation of official SUUL website, was given to Brad June Lopez. So sabi niya dito, which is intended for the creation of our official SUUL website, was given to Brad June Lopez as he was one of responsible for the said project that time. So for further queries on this matter, please communicate with him. So sabi niya, yung 10,000 binigay ko kay June Lopez. He was the one who's in charge of doing the website during this time. Payment for national ID was directed sent to me and not to be deposited since the amount was intended. Tapos last, regional consultative assembly, blah, 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 all these things. So, binake down niya from 1757 to 5,000 makita. Payment of ID. And the cash in hand amounting to 33,000, yan yung natira. Sabi niya, I admit, ito po, sabi niya, the 33,000, I admit that I invested in Aman investment in Pagadian City. So, that money he invested in Aman investment in Pagadian City, of which is managed by our Brad. So, kabrad din natin yung nag-manage doon. So, ininvest niya yung money doon. So, in good faith, sabi niya, what if ininvest ko at lalago to? So, pag lumago to, then definitely makaka-benefit din yung suol nito. So, this was his intention. Because in good faith, I want the organization to have enough funds for future projects and other financial needs after my term ends. Alpha Chi Alpha officers and members knows this, as I told them during one of our meeting regarding this said investment. Officers and some members of Chi chapter Pagadian City knows too. We have made an agreement and the promise that 2% of the proceeds of their investment will go to the National Council. So all of these things, sinagot ni Eric Zion. So ito yung and sabi niya dito, maraming thank you Brad Ador. So there was something that's very interesting here. Sabi niya, one of the questions why there is no consultation made to the NC officers because of this. Where are they during their term? Sabi niya, sa mga NC officers during my term, saan ba sila? Except, ask them if they really perform their duties and responsibilities. So during this time, from the period of 2010 to 13, I think Eric Zion is one-man show. So he's the one who's also deciding everything. Halos wala siyang makuhang cooperation sa NC officers. So saan sila? National councils. And one of the questions why there is no consummation to after, where are they? Except, sabi niya, except for Brando Ratilla and Brad Philbaha, there's the only NC officers who helped me a lot. Sila lang po yung halos tumutulong sa akin in my decision makings. Ako lang mag-isa sa lahat ng lakad during Consultative Assembly, chapter recognition, chapter visits, and thanks to Brad Ador and Brad Ruel Waga, Brad Greg Kiamco, kasi sila yung napakaiusapan ko sa samahan ako at ginawa ko po silang mga living example as to how strong our organization is. So, nga, minsan may darating na NC officers pero gagawin lang nila, magpapakyut at di mo makitang magtatagal, mawawala agad. So, this is how disorganized or how hindi po masyadong strong yung cooperation during that time with the NC officers kay Eric Zion, no? For your information also, Mr. Supreme Minister, I am not hiding and nowhere to be found. As what your good Deputy Supreme Minister Fernando Bore reported to you, to quote, so sabi ni DSM Bore na si Eric Zion ay di na malocate, makontak at wala sa professional PRC daw nagtatrabaho. This is a big lie, sabi niya, magaling siya. So, admittedly, he invested the money sa Aman, investment sa Pagadian, without consulting the National Council, without a resolution. It was a decision solely made by himself. His reason is that hindi din cooperative yung ibang National Council officers and only few of them. And sabi niya, in good faith, may ilang percent doon, pag tumubo, it will go to the fund of SUUL and all these things. So this is his justification. Ni-receive naman yan ni Pete Amumunpon. In fact, if you look at this, sabi dito, please review your advisory issued. After nagpalabas si Pete Amumunpon, no? Investigasyon, ginawa na wala ka man dito sa Pilipinas. Nakikinig ka lang sa kwento. Ray Zion, referring to Pete, ng ilan na puro haka-haka at may galit o inggit sa kanya. Dapat kayo muna nag-iimbestiga ni Eric Zion. So, Knights Oliver asking, who are those NC officers who authorize you, dear SM? Is there any document as proof that they are giving you the authority to exercise the executive power, which is I can find any article in our CBL? O nga naman, what kind of investigation are made? Did you talk to Brad Eric as a due process investigation? Knights Oliver, if I am not mistaken, RC or of NC, the Royal Court of National Council, is the judicial body of the organization. It is very serious case. Would it be fair for Brad Eric if the executive power is applied and not the judicial power? So, this is a question. No? It's a fair question as well. So, tama ka, Brad Astig. Meron bang ganong serious matter? Iisa lang ang magdidesisyon, kundi unfair. Yan masyado. It's abuse of authority for them. Kay Pete Amumunpon. Sabi ni Pete, reply siya sa thread na yan. I have meeting minutes to prove it, Brad. Sending him the order is a way of informing him of the charges, thus give him the opportunity to respond. That is due process. So sabi niya, para sa kanya, pagbigay ng order and giving him the authority to the time to respond was a due process for Pete Amumunpon. Wibina, Kafino, atuan na lang ni istoryahan ug maayo, we will not exchange insult words and all these things. Another isa yon, Paano mapag-usapan ng husto since nandito sa Pilipinas puro negative ang mga sinasabi tungkol kay Eric Zion? Keso nowhere to be found daw siya, samantalang kilala ng blah 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 PRC at also all these things. There's also some comments here from Boyet Araw-Araw. Sabi niya, no investigation was made by the National Council Royal Court. John Sayon, how ironic, approved by the complaining. Okay, so si Rain, Solihon, Florence, Crescencio, is due process rendered, sabi niya. Those the accused given the chance to defend himself, thus the National Council, Royal Court, made the trial and investigation and rendered their recommendation to the SM after the trial and investigation. That was a question. Meron ba ginawa ang RC? Nagbigay ba ng recommendation? So does the accused pleaded guilty beyond reasonable doubt? That was a question, sabi ni Rain. Does he give the chance to pay certain amount for whatever is lost? Just serious about the process before the notice order. She got a point. Like, what was the exact process sana before giving the notice order? Was there an investigation by the RC, blah blah blah? But it was, again, I explained earlier na because of that inaction sa RC, 2013 walang nangyari. 2014 nag-meeting sila and humingi ng executive power si Pete Amumunpon, which I haven't heard it in the entire history of Suul, na siya na lang din yung maging judge, jury, investigationer, siya na din yung executioner, no? So yan po yung nangyari, Sis Rain. Ngayon, ang nangyari, Eric Zion replied August 30, no? This is the query addressed to the National Royal Court. I would like to know, where is our bylaws that NC officers can give executive power to the Supreme Minister? Saan yan? Number 1. How come that the National Council Royal Court has not acted the complaint of SM against me? Has not acted upon as claimed by our SM? Sabi niya, ba't hindi niya acted? 2013, nag-ano ka, tapos how come that they didn't act on it as nag-complain yung SM? Number 3, would it be possible that SM can have the power to decide on a certain case with our Royal Court, make a formal investigation of the said case? Number 4, the SM is the complainant and he will be the one to decide on my case. Do we see no bias on this? Tama nga naman. Number 5, is there a due process in this case? Is my right as a member was not abused? So hope this query will be given and all these things. Nag-reply din si Solihon, Florence, Crescencio. The National Council, Royal Court must do their duties and responsibilities regarding the case. This is not ordinary case. As we know, all answers, manifestations, and facts must be presented to the Royal Court for investigation, to the Royal Court for evaluation and corrected. And this case should be put in the proper forum. Dominic Maniway, that's why I've said it seems to be neglected by the National Royal Court because there was no follow-up after that you've manifested in Catbalogan. Brad Tatay Rulawaga, even you did not show the requirements you have asked. But anyway, what has been done is done. This is not the right time to blame each other for the mistake we should correct. Brad Eric Zion had already answered and even accepted his fault. I hope that this issue will end up peacefully, and I hope that we should very first to concern members that involved in certain issues, particularly in violation of bylaws. So yan po yung nangyari sa case ni Eric Zion, and the rest is history. Moving forward, I'd like to point out that October 7, Dondongomez answered to Brad Marlon Echeverria and the wife of Marlon, Hazel Mercado Echeverria, and Brad Erwin Valmoria. Anong sabi niya ni Dondongomez? Greetings, likewise your wife is Hazel Mercado, and Echeverria requested the undersigned and to Sis Gina Tan in writing to help both of you to release from the sanctuary of darkness. Without any second thought and hesitations, your wish is my command. However, don't expect big, but I try my very best. So what happened, ladies and gentlemen? Explain ko lang konti. Eric Zion, I stand corrected. Excuse me, it's Marlon Echeverria and Brad Erwin Valmoria. Sila po yung nakulong due to hazing. Babalikan lang po natin yung history. Makita nyo po dyan sa screen. There's a news from Sunstar. I don't know which newspaper tabloid is this. But if you can see on your screen na recorded, 3 fraternity members draw life term. Kasi nahatulan sila ng habang buhay na pagkakakulong. So Cagayan de Oro City, 3 fraternity members have been sentenced to life imprisonment after they were found guilty of violation Republic Act 8049, also known as the law against hazing. So Judge Edgardo Loren Branch 18 sentenced on October 2 Marlon Echeverria, Erwin Valmoria, and Gary Galendez for leading initiation rites on July 21, 2002. Nangyari po to July 21, 2002 sa Balingasag, Misamis Oriental. That resulted in the death of Elmer Cabang, 19. So yan po yung namatay po, no? The accused are students of St. Peter College in Balingasag. They are the first fraternity members in the country who were convicted of violating the anti-hazing law. They were ordered jailed to the National Bilibid Prison in Manila. So this is what happened. So until then, 2004, since 2002 nakakukulong sila, 2004, through the effort, ang gusto ng pamilya or ni Marlon at saka ni Erwin na mag-apply sila ng commutation of sentence or executive clemency. Ito po yung pagpapababa ng kaso. So if you look at clemency, ito yung leniency, sabi, no? It is to appeal for clemency, it's a plea. Yung instead of habang buhay na pagkakakulong is babaan po yun. So, family of Eric Sion, wife, and Erwin, during this time, it was Jonathan who's the mediator, keeper of the scroll. So, they asked Jonathan to help them draft that letter. And Jonathan went on and asked for DonDonGomez help for this, in which DonDonGomez gladly responded para makadulong. So in short, because of this, di ba earlier may problema, may issues na si SMP and DonDonGomez during the SUUL ID episode? Isa pa to nakadagdag sa hidwaan or sa issues nila. So because later on it was revealed by Jonathan, sinabi niya, dinocument niya doon, the only fault I have as Jonathan is that I went to DonDonGomez asking for help for Erwin and Brad Marlon instead of Pete Amumunpon. So isa yun sa naging personal problem between Jonathan and SM Pete. So naging issue po yan. So patuloy po tayo, makita niyo po dito that acknowledgement ni Brad Pitt and announcement, and then yung SUUL International celebrates 41st anniversary, UAE chapter po yan, posted by Brad Robert during this time. Napakamaganda po yung mga samahan, and it was a good deal. So in summary, 2014 was fast, wala masyadong issue except for the exchange of messages from SM versus Sion, SM versus DonDonGomez, SM Jonathan. It was later on, but during this time, wala pa siyang hidwaan. So, SUUL continues to prosper. More and more chapters revive, registered, established. SM leadership is doing good so far. He's just got a lot of eyebrow questioning Eric Sion's due process. So, wala pong masyadong question about that, but that was the first problem. Actually, the second problem. SM Pete versus DonDonGomez. SM Pete versus Eric Sion. And what happened is that maraming kilay, eyebrow raised because of that process of how he handled the problem and investigation. So there was a question whether saan ba sa CBL yung magbibigay ka ng executive power to the SM? Sa bakit ikaw na yung judge, jury, executioner as well? And bakit ba yung Royal Court walang nagawa? What happened? So kung titingnan niyo po, by the way, this is recorded. MP3 can be downloaded. MP4 can be downloaded here. You can also go to our YouTube channel. You will see there yung saan ba yung YouTube natin? I think it's there also. Makita mo yung channel natin for am I logging? Yeah, I am. So if you go to your channel, you will see there the recording. So makita nyo po dito, if you go to the convention recap that happened in 2014 sa General Santos City, you will see who are the royal courts here. Makita nyo po, sa National Council, meeting was called to order and quorum was established and certified keeper of the School National Council, Pete Amumunpon. Si Tyrone Opiso po is the designated presiding officer during this meeting. National Council roll call, Pete Amumunpon. SM, tingnan natin sino yung mga royal court. Royal court. Ayan, these are the royal court. So your question is, was there, bakit hindi inaksyonan ng royal court? The answer to your question lies on the key people here. Royal Waga is there, George Dadulaw, Margarita Bantog, Bernardo Calido is the royal court, Florence Erlo Inrera, also the royal court. Ask these people, was there any action made in June 7, 2013 na nagsubmit ni SMP ng complainant? Kung meron man, there is this process, like ilang days dapat aaksyonan ng royal court, what happened to their investigation, what was their recommendation, and bakit walang nangyari. In 2014, again, si Pete, nag-follow up siya at walang nangyari. Kung hindi nyo kaya, I don't know what happened by the meeting, kung hindi nyo kaya, bigyan nyo executive power, I will be the one who will do the investigation. The question is, how did he do it? Was there any process of doing it? Nasa Amerika siya, his investigation of former SM nandito sa Pilipinas. If there was also a element of, anong tawag doon? Inamin ni Eric Sayon that the 33,000 in-invest niya sa Aman at nalugi po doon or na-scam or whatever it is, and that hindi na bumalik yun. So what happened is that binibigyan siya ng, I think, 40 days para bayaran yung pera, and that's what happened. So the first question was that the executive power was given, why the NC Royal Court did not do the investigation. So ito po, it was the start of how Pete's leadership, one-man person, or I would say that, kung anong gusto niya mangyayari talaga. And gagawin niyang lahat in order that it can be, which is a good thing. Actually, for me, it's a good thing because it can get the job done. Like, parang, okay, may complain ako sa taong ito, pinadaan ko sa barangay kapitan, walang nangyari, then I will settle it myself. It's like that. It's just that Pete is also a guy in authority. So, people always would question him regarding the legal process of how it is done. So, this is what happened here. So, again, I would end the episode 2 for 2014 here. Patuloy po tayo 2015. Stay tuned to my video. Makita nyo po dyan ang 2015. Napakagandang himay-himayin po ang mga problema sa 2015. Andun po yung Second National Annual Convention, change of hosting venue from Davao to CMU, SMP versus Eric Sayon expulsion case, SMP versus Flor Bondoc related to Concon venue, SMP versus Tyrone Opiso related to disrespectful post and death, SMP versus Gina Tan, SMP versus SMP's wife, na involved pa si wife Melly dito, Gina Tan related to SK Congress case, SMP versus DonDonGomez, Gina Tan, DAPECOL Marlon case. Ayan, na-open yan ni Petition by 8 founders retained to Davao sa venue Concon. Stay tuned. Follow my post and Facebook page and continue to be updated sa lahat po ng recent happenings. Maraming salamat. Thank you for your time. Going back to the history and the past will give us the truth. It will give us also the idea kung bakit ganito na lang po yung mga response ng mga puso ng mga taong involved sa division case, kung bakit napakahirap po sa kanilang magpatawad at mag-unite again. At marami po silang, a lot of things. Kung gusto, may paraan. Kung ayaw, maraming dahilan. Let's discuss 2015 in my next video. Maraming po salamat. And thank you for your time.